Welcome and thank you for watching another episode of Curious Cat Crime Sunday with Shelby and Olivia. We're sorry for missing last week, but we hope that this week's episode will make up for it. Today's episode is going to be on the Black Dahlia murder. Let's get to it. Elizabeth Short was born July 29th, 1924, and died January 14th through the 15th, sometime around that time, in 1947, known posthumously as the Black Dahlia. She was an American woman found murdered in Lamert Park neighborhood of Los Angeles, California on January 15th, 1947. Her case became highly publicized owing to its gruesome nature of the crime, which included things that I cannot discuss here on YouTube as it would get taken down or would get an age block. So if you want to do your own research, just bear in mind that it is very gruesome and there are photos up, and if you have a weak stomach, I would not suggest searching it. Elizabeth Short was a native to Boston and spent her early life in New England and Florida before relocating to California, where her father lived. It is commonly held that she was an aspiring actress, though she had no acting credits or jobs during her time in Los Angeles. She would acquire the nickname Black Dahlia posthumously, as I said, because newspapers at the time period often nicknamed particularly lurid crimes. The term may have originated from the film noir mystery The Blue Dahlia, which was in 1946. After the discovery of her body, the Los Angeles Police Department began an extensive investigation that produced over 150 suspects. On January 9, 1947, Short returned home to her home in Los Angeles after a brief trip to San Diego with Robert Red Manley, a 25-year-old married salesman she had been dating. Manley stated that he dropped Short off at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, and that Short was to meet her sister, who was visiting from Boston that afternoon. By some account, staff of the Biltmore recalled having seen Short using the lobby telephone. Shortly after, she had allegedly seen by patrons of the Crown Grill Cocktail Lounge at 754 South Olive Street, approximately 3/8 miles away from Biltmore. On the morning of January 15, 1947, Short's unclothed body, severed into two pieces, was found in a vacant lot on the west side of South Norton Avenue, midway between the Coliseum Street and West 39th Street, in the neighborhood of Lamert Park. At the time, Lamert Park was largely undeveloped. Locally residents Betty Bursinger discovered the body at approximately 10 a.m. while walking her 3-year-old daughter. Initially thinking that she had found a discarded store mannequin. When she realized it was a corpse, she rushed to a nearby house and telephoned police. Short's severely mutilated body was completely severed at the waist and drained of blood, leaving her skin very pale white. Medical examiners determined that she had been dead for around 10 hours prior to the discovery, leaving her time of death either during the evening of January 14th or the early morning hours of January 15th. The body had apparently been washed by the killer. Short's face had been slashed from the corner of her mouth to her ear, creating the effect known as Glasgow's smile. She had several cuts on her thighs and upper area, while entire portions of flesh had been sliced away. The lower half of her body was positioned a foot away from the upper, and her insides were tucked beneath her back area. The corpse had been posed with the hands over her head and her elbows bent at a right angle and her legs spread apart. Upon the discovery, a crowd of nearby passersby reported began to gather. Los Angeles Herald-Express reporter Angie Underwood was among the first to arrive at the scene and took several photos of the corpse at the crime scene. These are the ones that you can find online, I'm assuming, because they're pretty much everywhere when you search for her. Near the body, detectives found a heel print on the ground amid the tire tracks. A cement sack containing watery blood was found nearby. So, going into some of the theories, there is a man by the name, or was a man by the name of George Hodel. He was a notorious Los Angeles doctor whose actual proclivities and surgical knowledge have led many to believe that he was the one that killed Elizabeth Short. So I'm trying to get here to see what I can explain it to you, but He was originally ruled out as a suspect at the hiding investigation, but his own son believes to this day that he was responsible for Elizabeth Shore's death, and possibly many other more innocent women. George Hodel was Los Angeles native, a very intelligent man. He graduated high school in 1922 at 15 years old and enrolled in California Institute of Technology at just 16. He was expelled after he was discovered having an affair with his professor's wife and had gotten her pregnant. At 21, he had a son with a woman named Amelia, and by the 1930s was married to Dorothy Anthony. They had a daughter, Tamara. In 1932, he returned to school to study medicine, first at Berkeley and then at the University of California, San Francisco. He received his medical degree in 1936. Hodel was a very successful doctor and was living in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Los Angeles. But he also had a wild side and was well known for a surrealist art scene as well as parties and the S&M scenes. In 1940, while still married to Dorothy, Hodel married Dorothy Harvey, the ex-wife of a close friend. He gave her the nickname Doriro, excuse me if I'm saying that wrong, so his inner circle would not confuse the two. In 1945, he bought one of the famous Frank Lloyd Wright properties in the city, as reported by ABC News, and he moved his new wife and their 3 children into the home. His first partner, Amelia, also stayed with him on occasion. Hodel was well known to have casual flings with others and was into S&M, like many of his friends. George Hodel's polygamy flew largely under the radar and does not appear to have been the deciding factor in making his suspect list on the murder of Elizabeth Shore. However, in 1949, his daughter Tamara did indeed bring Hodel under the spotlight of the law. So there was also actual abuse by his own daughter, Tamara Hodel. That was in 1949. She publicly accused her father of actually abusing her, claiming that he forced himself on her and made her read erotica to do such things. 2 witnesses testified against George Hodel and told the jury they had seen him once force himself on his daughter. The prosecution had a 3rd witness, but she recanted her story and refused to take the stand. So, Hodel's defense team learned of the smear campaign leaded a smear campaign against Tamara Hodel to win the case, claiming that she was an attention-seeking liar, among other accusations, and the jury actually believed it, and charges against Hodel were dismissed. But Hodel eventually tired of his life in Los Angeles, went to Hawaii in 1950, where he met Hortensia, Laguda, excuse me if I'm saying that wrong, with whom he had 4 children before divorcing a decade later. However, police took an interest in Hodel while investigating the murder of Elizabeth Short for a number of reasons. First, his charge put him on the list of suspects that include known sexual criminals in the area where she was found. Second, Hodel was a well-regarded doctor with some skills and knowledge of surgical procedures, and the grisly, precise incision that the Black Dahlia suffered suggests someone with medical knowledge. Moreover, several witnesses even told police they had seen George Hodel and Elizabeth Short together, as she was reportedly one of the many flings that occupied Hodel's time. There was enough evidence to bug Hodel's home in 1950, though the tapes from the hours of recordings, the police caught Hodel saying, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia, they can't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary anymore because she's dead. They thought there was something fishy anyways. Now they may have figured it out. Killed her. Maybe I did kill my secretary." End quote. Though he was among the top 5 suspects, Hodel was never formally charged with murder of Elizabeth Short. After moving to Hawaii and starting another family, he became a psychiatrist and eventually moved to the Philippines before returning to San Francisco, where he died in 1999. And that is the end. There is no ending to this story, and I think this is the first unsolved murder that we've done on this case, and I do hope you guys enjoy it. And again, thank you very much for stopping in to Curious Cat Crime Sunday with Shelby and Olivia. I am Shelby. We hope you guys have a great week. Bye!